For this photo, I'm instantly going to start by cropping it down to 4:3, and then I want to crop it in just a little bit like that. And then I'm going to grab one of my presets. So for this one, I'm going to use vintage. Then the first thing I want to do is just drop the exposure a little bit to bring back some more of that detail. Then I'm going to drop the highlights to bring some more detail back into the sky, and then I want to lift the shadows just a little bit. Then coming to the color grading, I just want to move that color of the highlights around to the more teal or aqua, and then decrease the saturation just a little bit, and then increase the saturation of those shadows and the midtones ever so slightly. Then I want to create a mask for the sky, and the first thing I notice is that I don't want it to be so intense over the mountains in the back, so I'm just going to subtract using a linear gradient and pull that up. Then I'm going to add some more blues into the sky, slight bit of greens, pull the highlights down just a touch, and then increase the white. Then I'm going to add in a little bit of contrast and then remove some dehaze ever so slightly. Then coming into our color mixer, I'm going to grab the blues and just slide them slightly towards the teals or the aquas, and then increase the saturation and increase the luminance just a touch, decrease that saturation just a little bit. Then I want to add some dehaze to the entire image because I shot this through a window of one of these little gondolas down here, so it's making everything look just a little bit hazy. Coming back down to our colors, I just want to move those magentas more towards the blues and then desaturate them, just so that we don't have any weird magenta colors happening in our background. Then coming to the oranges, I just want to move those ever so slightly towards the reds, increase the saturation and decrease the luminance. Our yellows, I'm going to move those slightly towards the oranges and just increase the saturation a little bit. Then the greens, I'm going to move those just slightly towards the yellows, increase the saturation, and then increase the luminance a touch as well. And then finally, I just want to add a radial gradient down the bottom to remove some of the distraction of this foreground, decrease the exposure just a touch, maybe not quite that much, there we go. And I just want to imitate the sun a little bit up here. So we're going to create another sky mask and then intersect that mask with a radial gradient, just like that, and then increase the exposure just a touch. So we have the before and the after.